Good afternoon, everyone. Before I get started into introductions, I'd just like to play you a short video to sort of set the scene. So here we go.
Swissport has launched a partnership with UK-based firm Aurrigo.
We play an important role in how we shape the industry for the next 5 or 10 years, and digital innovation and automation is really at the heart of our strategy. So this is why we're trialling the autonomous vehicle at Zurich. It's our largest, most complex hub.
There we go. Good afternoon. Hope that was an insightful start to the presentation. My name's David Keane. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the company. I don't look this old, I'm sure, but I have 42 years experience in the automotive industry and latterly 6 years experience in aviation. And I'm a visiting professor of autonomous vehicles at Coventry University. And my role, not just driving the strategy of the company, but I'm also hands-on involved in terms of the product and technical design of the vehicles. And I'm there every day, 5 days a week, actually 7 days a week. So I'm really hands-on, and I've got a great team behind me. I actually started the company back in 1993. My history was in electronics and software in the automotive industry, and I worked for Rover Group, BMW, Honda and Jaguar Land Rover. And I took voluntary redundancy in 1993 and set the company up. And for the first 9 months I was in my box bedroom at home in Coventry until my brother joined, and the rest is sort of history. I tell you about RDM Automotive as a bedrock to this entire company and what we're doing in terms of the really exciting stuff in autonomy. And really the automotive company that we have provides the bedrock in terms of high quality, very innovative products that are designed for automotive customers that are really stringent. And we're a trackside supplier to a number of companies. We hold all of the accreditations that you need to do that. And that really gives us an opportunity to transfer all of that technology and know-how into what we're doing on autonomous vehicles. And we've been doing actually autonomous vehicles since 2014. We started out, we were the first company to take advantage of government grants to design the first two-seater vehicle. We then designed a four-seater vehicle, and then we went on to design a 10-seater vehicle. But it was really a massive stroke of fortune. I'd like to say I do the strategy for everything, but actually we had a very fortunate phone call from one of the lead innovators at International Airlines Group working for British Airways. And he said to me, I love what you're doing, but we don't want that. What we actually want is we want a vehicle that can carry baggage and cargo around Terminal 5 at Heathrow. And it was the first time that that door of opportunity had opened, and I could see that that was where we needed to focus the company, and that's where we would get the biggest business pull. And from that beginning, we started to design and develop products, and I'll go through those products as part of this presentation. So we are currently, all those years later, we are the #1 lead company in the world in terms of autonomous vehicles for airport ground handling. Our vehicles are way more advanced than the competition. There is competition. So there are 2 French companies and 1 Chinese company, but they are taking a very traditional approach. They're taking current vehicles that you would see today, like a normal tug that pulls containers around, and then they are working with another company to bring in the technology and retrofit that onto their vehicles. We are the disruptors. We've come at it from virtually no experience other than having a gin and tonic and getting on a plane. We have taken all of our autonomous technology, or our automotive tech, and we've transferred it into aviation to look at it in a different way. And that's why we're starting to stand out around the world with the products. Since we IPO'd, we obviously gone from a private company to a public company. We now have in excess of 100 employees. And we have operations, our headquarters are in Coventry in the UK. And we have operations in Cincinnati in the US and in Kanata Park in Ottawa in Canada. And we have quite a sizable team in Terminal 1 at Singapore. So we're really operating right across the world now. And the products and systems that I'm going to show you, there is no difference in any of the applications. So we are not customizing any of the products for any of the locations. So one product fits all applications. And as I say, we're leveraging our heritage and our skills in innovation. And this is a huge market. Our analysis says that approximately 700 airports around the world, if they implemented this technology, it would be a positive business case for them. So that is a huge, huge market. And we have gone from very lowly beginning sales in FY22 through into FY23. And we're now showing FY24 sales, which have increased by 433%. I show you this slide here because we, as a disruptor, we've come into this market with zero brand. Nobody knows who Aurrigo is. And over the last 2.5 years, with our partners, with our PR and our routes to market, we have created the brand, brought people to understand our technology, and quite frankly, got everyone in the market really super excited about this. This is like getting your face on Time magazine. If you can get your product on the front of, I mean, obviously you all read Airside International, of course. I can tell you, Airside International fanatics. But seriously, to get that on the front page, it is a really big deal. And not just there, but Cargo News International, all of the publications. Again, another one you obviously read. All of these products and publications that are out there, we've really built that up and built a head of steam, really exciting, and people start to talk about us. In fact, I thought it was really funny because I typed into ChatGPT the other day, tell me who the best autonomous vehicle company is in the world, and we were number 1. And if it's on ChatGPT, it's got to be good. So yes, so the other thing that's really happened and has been accelerating really quickly is the market. We've never made an outgoing sales call. We've never tried to drum up any business at all. We are showing that our products are working in the locations you've seen on the video, and we've got lots of inbound inquiries coming into us. And that market has accelerated faster than even I thought. So when we launched and we listed the company, I thought we were probably 3 to 5 years away before we would see real generation in the market and real excitement in the market. We've been out there no more than 2.5 years, and things have really started to develop. And pressure in the market is growing. So post-COVID, during COVID, obviously everything ground to a halt. A lot of people were made redundant, particularly the ground operation crews. And it's a very difficult job. When you're sat in your airplane looking out the window and it's raining, it's 50 degrees, it's minus 40, it's snowing, whatever it is, there's men and women who are out there working really hard in full PPE gear, and that is a hard job. And what happened is during COVID, when they were all made redundant, and then air traffic came back, and they said to everybody, can you come back? actually large proportions of them said we're not going to do that anymore because we've got another job, a different job. And so now we are back to an industry where flights and passenger movements and cargo movements are significantly ahead of pre-COVID levels. And what that means is that airports and airlines and ground handlers, they don't have enough staff actually to do the operations and continue to expand. So people always ask me, well, all this automation is going to make thousands of people redundant. Well, the answer is we're not going to be doing that because actually there isn't enough people to do what they want to do and to expand. So we are now seen as the gap filler. So an example of that would be you'll see in an airport where drivers are driving empty containers around to rebalance the containers. So you've got fully trained people who have taken a long time to come into the industry. So if you want to employ someone, first of all, you've got to recruit them. Secondly, you've got to security clear them. And thirdly, you've got to train them up. And that could be up to 6 months before you've got someone who's able to work in an airport environment. So actually, if you're short of people, you don't really want them doing non-value-added jobs like driving fresh air and empty containers around the airport. So why don't you bring the robots in to do that job and reallocate those people into more safety and security and more value-added jobs? And that's what's happened, and that's what's really driving the main problems in the industry, as well as now trying to get improved operational efficiency because the airports and flights are growing, and also, of course, tremendous, particularly environmental regulations that need zero emission vehicles into the airport as soon as possible. On the right-hand side of this screen, you'll see 2 organisations. One's called the Baggage Innovation Working Group. I was really surprised how much airports and airlines work together. You would think that they would just do their own thing, but it's amazing that they group together and share a lot of information. And in fact, most airports are taking in delegations weekly or monthly who are flying in to have a look at how that particular airport or airline is doing something. And so they've come together. This group didn't exist 2 years ago. It says there's 130 there, there's now 150 people, and you can Google, you can just go on and have a look at this, and you can see the membership, and you will see all of the leading airports and leading airlines and ground handlers in the world who are now working together to try and work out how do you improve baggage. And we're right in the heart of that. We're actually members of that group, and that group meets virtually or in person every 6 to 8 weeks. And a splinter group off that, oh, by the way, the number one thing that they want to work on is autonomous vehicles on the apron, moving cargo and baggage around. A splinter group is Boost. Boost is made up of the airports of Heathrow, Brussels, Incheon Airport in South Korea, and Schiphol Airport in Holland. And what they've done is they've said, okay, each of the airports is going to tackle a particular problem. So Incheon are looking at the problem of oversized baggage. So how do they robotise picking up and moving sets of skis or golf clubs or anything like that? Schiphol have taken the job of how do they move cargo around on the apron and baggage around on the apron, and that's our vehicle. And the deal is in Boost, if one of those airports solves that problem, the other airports buy it without question. So you can see that the collaboration now in the market is really pulling the market forward. And we now have a suite of hardware and software solutions for them, which in some cases we've driven the design and development of those products, but also in a lot of cases we've had design input or product scope input from the actual customers we've been working with. And I'll explain that in a little bit in a moment. So we've got Auto Dolly Tug that you've seen in the video, and you can see it there. We've got Auto Cargo, which is a bigger vehicle that we've developed, co-developed with UPS. And we've got the Auto Shuttle 10-seat passenger vehicle from our previous work, which we're now going to deploy for crew movements and engineering staff It's amazing how many employee movements are going on an airport and how many vehicles are used literally just to move people around the airport. And then we have another really golden nugget piece of tech. This auto sim came out of the need. I really said to the guys, when we go and try and sell this vision of the future, I'm having to describe it like this, and it's really difficult to do that for people to imagine what it looks like. So why can't we have some, not video, but why can't we have some animation or digital simulation so that I can use it as a sales tool? And out of that, we created a brand new product called AutoSim, and we'll go on and talk about it in a second. And then finally, we've got Auto Connect. These vehicles need to work with a resilience and cannot be hacked. And because if you obviously you've got a fleet of these vehicles in the airport and you could hack them, well, first of all, you could bring them all to a halt, or you could do something pretty nasty with them. So we need a platform to protect them and to buffer them from the outside world and enable that Auto Connect system to be connected safely into the systems at the airport, which are telling you where to pick up baggage and move baggage to. So the first product was Auto Dolly Tug. Predominantly, I actually came up with the concept of this because we didn't want a Me Too product. The competitors are taking a current tug, they are retrofitting it with autonomy, and they are saying, okay, there you go. That doesn't give you a full end-to-end capability. What you need is a vehicle that will carry one of these containers, and with two robot arms, it'll slide it on and off. So it'll load it or it'll unload it. The fact that it drives sideways and turns 360 on the spot came from Changi. And the reason they wanted that is because in an airport environment, if you have a catering wagon servicing the aircraft and putting catering on and off, you can't actually load the baggage. It's too tight for a conventional tug and trailer system to get in there. And they said, well, if you could turn this vehicle and you could motor it sideways in the gap between the wing and where the catering truck is, we could carry on either loading or unloading the aircraft at the same time as we're putting the catering on and off, and thereby speeding up the turnaround of the aircraft. So that came directly from them, and we engineered that feature into the vehicle, and now all vehicles have that feature. The bottom point is really important. We're the only people who can go from inside a baggage hall, collect a container, go out of it along the roadways, go onto an aircraft stand and go right up to an aircraft and actually dock with the aircraft loader and deposit the container. No other company can do that. And by the way, we've never had an accident and we've never dented an aircraft. So, and we're the only company in the world currently that has several $100 million of insurance just in case we did. But we've got that and we're working that, and that's what's working at Changi in Singapore. We then wanted to look at the cargo market, and we spoke to UPS. They were very excited about what we could do in cargo, and a few weeks ago we launched the much bigger cargo vehicle. This will carry 7.5 tons and tow another 7.5 tons, and you can see on the right hand side, cargo market is massive, baggage handling is massive. In fact, actually, if the company only had UPS in cargo as a customer, this would be hundreds of millions of dollars. And the objective is that we trial this vehicle at UPS's main UK headquarters, which is at East Midlands Airport, get that all working, and that vehicle has been designed to go into any location that UPS has got around the world. Finally, AutoSim. We ended up with this full 3D simulation model. This allows us to work with an airport or an airline or a ground handler to first of all, to set up the handling that they're doing at the moment and get a base case. It models every single vehicle, every single roadway, even vehicles that are not even our vehicles. It models all of those, and then it allows you to play with that model and work out how you transfer from today's manually driven vehicles through electrified manual into fully autonomous. And it'll tell you where you need to put your chargers, how many chargers you need, what's the optimum amount of charging, how much grid capacity you need. And you might think, well, why do you need that? But if you're in Singapore, there isn't enough grid capacity currently there to support all the electrification of the vehicles in that airport. So working out which vehicles we could electrify and in which order, and then working out how we would do that from automation. And AutoSim provides this. Every single customer that we've got, we have one or more AutoSim projects working with them. So our business model is really straightforward. We've got a consultancy bit at the front end, which we're using AutoSim to help visualize and to work out what's going on. All these are paid. This is a paid consultancy. The second bit is once we've established what we need to do, we then move to first off vehicle deployments. Then we move to fleets of deployments, and then we go onto the Auto Connect platform, which just like Uber, in the future, it'll allow us to pick up a container, move it a set distance, drop it off, and instantly charge for that on a dynamic charging model. Now, we've done number 1 and we're into number 2, and number 3, by the end of this year, we will have that Auto Connect model with an understanding of platform revenue sorted out at Changi Airport with the fleet of vehicles that we've got there and the project that we've got. So I just want to just drop back to automotive because again, it's a really important part of the business. And we have a track record, as I said, over 30 years. We've got massive experience in highly skilled engineering of electronic modules, safety critical systems. We have a very, very skilled team and we have robust financials. In fact, that division last year generated $1 million of surplus cash, which we invested, non-dilutive, obviously, invested back into the business. And you can see some of the customers that we've got there. So just a quick look at financials. So you can see the split between automotive and you see in the dark blue autonomous, and you can see how the autonomous is starting to take off now. And that's a pun, isn't it? It's starting to take off. But also you can see on the gross margin side, we've now started to pull our gross margin up from 22% to 41%, and we expect that to go even higher. We're averaging on AutoSim about 90% gross margin on that product, and if we can obviously sell more of that and more product, we will improve that even more. In terms of overall performance, 34% increase on revenue. Net loss for the period improved. Obviously, we are still loss-making, even though we're generating cash from the businesses. And you can see, as I said, automotive delivered $1 million and autonomous delivered $2 million. We've still got the teams, both technical and deployment and engineering, ahead of the revenue and the cash generation currently. But every project that we're doing is profitable projects. So, we're a small company. Everyone might be thinking, Dave, this is a brilliant presentation, hopefully. This is a brilliant presentation, but how are you going to scale all of this? Because you're a tiny company, what are you going to do? Well, the way we're going to do it is we're going to partner with these companies, and that's why you've seen some of these announcements. And particularly recently, we've obviously had Changi and IAG for some time, but recently we've announced the Schiphol partnership. Schiphol have a company called Aviation Solutions within the group. They are incentivized to take the technology that's built in the group and to sell it to other airports. And they currently have just over 80 airports where they either manage the airport, they own the airport, or they have some sort of technology transfer deal with them. And now we've been approved at the airport. Those products, AutoSim and DollyTug, have now gone onto their register to enable them to co-promote those products into those 80 airports. And if you go onto Aviation Solutions website and click partners and products, you'll see that we're now on that website. And in fact, we've got the first 20 airports lined up. And Schiphol is a great place, as well as Changi, for a reference model where you can fly people in and you can give them live demonstrations of this product. The latest one that we've just released last week is Swissport, which you saw in the video. This is the first time that we have started to operate with a ground handler. Previously, they've all been airports and airlines. This is the biggest ground handler in the world. They have 36% of the global market, and as you can see, they're in 270 airports. We've done a partnering agreement with them. The first application will be auto sim and auto dolly tug into Zurich Airport. We will do that this year, and from that we will then start to look at their other airports as to how we can improve operations and scale that, hopefully across the whole of Swissport's operation in time. Again, we only need these very few customers to actually make a big impact. So, in conclusion, the investment case, it's a huge market. It's pulling us, it's accelerating quickly. So, we've got, as I said, Baggage Innovation Working Group have come together. People are really excited about this. We're right in the middle of this transitional time and phase that aviation is going to go through in the next 2, 3, 5 years. We have established ourselves as a trusted technology partner. We already have vehicles out. They've been tested, they've been approved, and now they're looking to how they can scale them in their operations. We have technical differentiation over our competitors, which is super important. We're not a Me Too product. And of course, we think we've got a scalable business model, not just with partners, but the way we're going to do things. So in fact, if you look at manufacturing, I always get asked, how are you going to scale manufacturing? The answer is, we've used our automotive skill set to have vehicles where we can have high level assemblies coming in from suppliers. We bolt those together, and you don't need a lot of capex to do that. In fact, our production facility in Coventry, which can probably a capacity of about 120 to 150 vehicles, is only 12,000 square feet and has 12 people. So this is not a huge capex issue. And finally, and really important, I've got the best team. I can do more with 100 or so people than companies can do with 1,000 people. We are not going to get thousands and thousands of people. We're going to stay very focused on what we're doing, and we're a technology company, and we're going to deliver these and make a huge difference to aviation, and making sure that you guys and girls don't lose your bags. So, thanks very much.
Thank you.